Welcome to a brand new day in crypto. Hopefully everyone's doing really well. Thank you all for joining me on another sort of unexpected live stream today, but we've got some big news, some really big news regarding a few of our favorite altcoins, okay, but also some different, random, important news as well. It's going to be a jam-packed one. I was supposed to just live stream last night, didn't have the time to, so we're doing two live streams today. We're doing this one and then the new news I'm going to talk about this evening. Okay, so you guys are going to get a bit more content out of me today. But I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for being here. My cough is lingering, so I apologize if that's going to kill your ears if I accidentally cough into the microphone this morning. It is currently 7:30 in the morning over here in Australia. Hopefully you're all doing well wherever you are situated. So guys, I want to jump into the news, then we'll look at some questions here in a bit, and then, yeah, we'll go from there, basically. So let me just kind of correct my screen, because I know this is not going to be aligned. So, well, today's a green day, right? It looks like, at least. So Bitcoin is now above, obviously, $38,000, $38,800 for the big. Is it still flickering? Okay, no, it's not. For the big orange bear. ETH is at just over $2,000. Now, it's interesting because, I woke up to this. It was great news, of course. Now, you guys know I like to see red days because that's when I buy, right? Green days, I've got a bunch of cash I'm holding. Then I'm just like, well, I want to buy stuff, right? So it's not a good day for me, technically speaking. But, of course, we've had a bit of an update here from Cappo. We've got all their fish in the net, in their Telegram chat. And it looks like Cappo, for those who don't know, Cappo is pretty much I want to say a bear. He most definitely is a crypto bear, but he's a very intelligent trader. And he admitted, I believe, he was wrong. He thought that Bitcoin, like myself, was going to, fall to these sort of a lot lower than what it currently is, at least right now. But nevertheless, he's actually posted something in his Telegram trading chat. He said 38,500 reach, what I expect now. Slow bleed for Bitcoin, ETH going a bit higher to 2,200 to 2,300. Some altcoins having the last pumps, then a big dump down to 30K to 31K with altcoins dumping about 30 to 40%. That would be the beginning of the capitulation event. Okay, so, Cappo being Cappo, but people give this man so much shit, and I don't know why, because I think, I have a sort of similar mindset. It is a pessimistic mindset, yes, but I think it's something that you should consider if you are a bull. Just at least consider it, and that's why it's important to have some cash, because if something like this happened, it would fall in line with the market. Historically speaking, again, a lot of these things have very crazily played out from the last cycles. And so I think, if we have a crash, well, now's sort of the time for this to happen. So, 30 to 40% on altcoins, guys. That's at least the initial set-off of the capitulation event would be an amazing opportunity for us to buy. At least get back into the levels we saw before, okay? So I want to say, yes, altcoins are up 2-3x right now, even some of the big boys. But a drop 30 to 40% will pretty much bring us back down to the same levels we were before. So that's at least the start, at least what he's saying here. So some big stuff. Hopefully everyone can appreciate this news today. But this is not the news. This is not the news by a long stretch. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have even bigger news, if that's even considered news in the first place. So I want to say, before we continue, two updates. The first update is, as you can see, the interface I'm using right now for the live streams, I'm going to get rid of the sponsors at the bottom, and I'm going to find a way in which I can figure out the agenda for the live streams, right? So you guys can visualize it, and as we go through, it can mark off. So everyone, watching this post live won't be watching this big 1 hour long stretch. They'll have individual tick off points, and so they can visualize, where we are currently in the live stream, and so can you if you join in late. Now, the second bit of news, and I'm really excited about this. Now, none of this is confirmed. I probably shouldn't even be saying this right now because he's probably going to get angry at me if I do. But for those who don't know who Tokenizer is, Let's just look him up here really quickly over on Twitter. He's going to be coming on and presenting, likely. I mean, anything could happen, but he's going to be presenting, at least that's the intention, the news for these live streams, right? So with him coming on and doing that, I will be able to talk about other things as well, and of course spend my time curating something else to teach you all in these live streams, plus the questions as well. So I'm just trying to jam-pack as much information as I can, and Tokenizer presenting this information will be a really fun way you can interact with him and see what he's all about, because this guy, I'm telling you right now, is nothing short of extremely full of knowledge. And he's younger than me, I think. He's a lot younger than me too, so, you know, I've got to up my game. So, first bit of news today is in regards to Algorand, okay? Algorand is, well, they're stepping more into a larger market here. Now, we'll touch on it in a second. They've already been playing around in this sector, but it's India, right? They're looking to push their platform, the Algorand network, into India, which is a very, very big, by the way, if you didn't really know, country for the growth of technology. Of course, I think a majority of India's GDP comes from the tech industry, basically, right? And so this will be massive. So over here, right, Algorand forms strategic collaborations in India to push Web3. So decentralized network. Algorand has partnered with key players in India to deepen India's Web3 foundation. In a significant move explained by the blockchain platform CEO Stacey Warden, again, that's Algorand's current CEO, Algorand will partner with the Indian tech advocacy group NASSCOM. We'll touch more on NASSCOM in a second, but they also partner with TIE Bangalore, I'm going to pronounce these wrong, a global entrepreneurship supporting program, and India's first women-centric bank, the Mandeshi Foundation, right? So what is NASSCOM? Well, we'll touch on more of these guys, just the premise of this news, but they are essentially the hub that is a digital skilling initiative developed in partnership with the IT industry, academia, and government, right? So these guys are huge. These guys are really, really big, right? The National Association of Software and Service Companies, or NASSCOM, is an Indian non-government trade association and advocacy group that primarily serves the Indian technology industry. Now, the Indian technology industry, as I said, is massive, right? $240 billion industry in India. That's with a B. That's massive. Massive, right? An industry that has made phenomenal contribution to India's GDP, exports, employment, So NASSCOM is massive. They pretty much do everything in India, right? Everything. NASSCOM members has 3,000 plus individual institutions or entities constitute 90% of the industry's revenue. That's huge. That's huge. They're involved in the local, national, and global level, all right? So again, Algorand's partnered with these guys, all right? They're partnered with these guys. It's just absolutely massive. And as we can see over here, TIE Bangalore, is that right? Bangalore? So the collaboration with TIE Bangalore will enable Algorand to provide educational initiatives to support the Indian Web3 ecosystem, Warden added. Also, the Mandeshi Foundation, Algorand will also develop a blockchain-based credit scorecard and identity system for women entrepreneurs of that foundation, right? So that's some pretty big stuff. Now, again, that's big in of itself, but I think the major news here is the NASSCOM news, because this essentially is like getting themselves fully in India, right? Which again is a massive industry in of itself that's only going to be continuing to swell, right? So Algorand's India's country lead, Anil, noted that the firm is aiming to have organizational partnerships to deepen the Web3. It's also working on partnerships to build Web3 use cases in India. So Anil also stressed that Algorand won't go to regulators with recommendations. However, it is anticipating India's central bank digital currency launch. So, you know, Algorand does push CBDCs, and I guess this is a bit of a thing that a lot of people will have a bit of a sticking point with, because they've also partnered with the Hillary Foundation, or the Clinton Foundation rather. So, you know, there's a lot of things that people don't like about Algorand because, again, it's basically forming the infrastructure for things that fundamentally go against crypto principles, right? Just decentralization, you know, screw the big man, so on and so forth. Fair enough. But we cannot deny that the tsunami is coming, right? And this is one of those such steps. Now, this isn't Algorand's first move in India, by the way. So let me get a drink here, but this has been going on now since February 2023. So, I mean, what's that, like 11 months? Almost, basically, 11 months. So Algorand unveils a series of partnerships across India to foster Web3. Algorand unveils a series of first-of-its-kind partnerships across India, focused on growing adoption of the Algorand blockchain in India. So this has, again, been progressing for a while now. So Algorand is collaborating with India's top innovation hub, T-Hub, with more than 600 corporate partners, including Intel, AWS, Boeing, Meta, Microsoft, Cisco, so on and so forth. With the help of its alliance, existing businesses and startups can develop scalable, high-impact blockchain-based systems. So what you can kind of speculate on here is that the partnership with T-Hub, because T-Hub is also partnered with NASCOM quite intimately, you could almost assume and safely assume that T-Hub, and Algorand being a part of T-Hub, kind of like forced this partnership with NASCOM. And again, like, it's hard for us in the West to kind of realize, oh, okay, NASCOM, T-Hub, like, what really is that? This is big. This is very, very big. Fundamentally, Algorand has its claws in India. Now, if you think about, again, India's like one of India's largest, I guess you could say, exporters, or massive part of the GDP is the technology. I mean, this is perfect, right? And I think Algorand's smart because they know that as a tech company, as a software company, they have to focus on the regions of the world that will need this sort of stuff. And of course, India is one of them. Of course, Asia's a massive, massive part of all this. So that's, of course, first and foremost. And you have the US. It's a whole, god in of itself. But I think if it can get its claws over here, that's even better, right? So this is big. This is very, very big. So, I mean, I'm very bullish on Algorand. Again, like Hillary Clinton, they've got deep partnerships and all that sort of stuff. So that's a big sticking point for a lot of people. But I think it's very important for us as investors in Algorand. If you are, I personally am, then, this is bullish stuff. It is bullish stuff. While the crypto market, pardon me, while the crypto market might not look at Algorand as one of its own, I think in a lot of aspects, you can't deny what it's doing. And again, I'm currently listening to a podcast from Silvio, the founder of Algorand, and the guy's a genius, so he knows what he's doing. Next up, let's talk more about, let me just move this across. Let's talk a little bit more about something different. This is in regards to the INATBA. What a mouthful, right? The International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, right? So let me tell you who these guys are first and what's actually happening here. So the INATBA, I'm going to hate saying this over and over again, facilitates positive change in the blockchain ecosystem. We are dedicated to supporting and promoting our members as part of our work to bridge public and private entities and promote a global blockchain adoption across diverse So essentially, they just make blockchain more accessible to everyone. That's essentially what they're doing, but it's not just blockchain. They're just going to make the world more unified, essentially is the way that you can look at it. And blockchain is a very core principle at that. We are, of course, in crypto, and we only think two-dimensionally. We only think, here's my crypto asset. I'm indirectly exposed to crypto because I'm buying the token, and that means I'm somehow like, no. This is really crypto at its finest. This is really blockchain technology, and that has real application here. And these guys are pretty much one of those leaders in this globally, right? This is one of the guys that, devs and, blockchain projects go to as the GOAT, right? As essentially, how can I explain this? It's like if you were a basketball player, you'll like look at Kobe Bryant or LeBron James. This is them, okay? So these guys have a massive group of members, massive, right? So we've got different types of members, not just large, medium, small, micro, whatever they've classified them as over here. They're definitely tiered differently, but as we can see here, we've got some massive names in this list. We've got Iota, right? Algorand, R3 Corda. This is a consortium network. VeChain. It's full of crypto alike and non-crypto alike companies, right? IBM's obviously in here, so on and so forth. It's massive, okay? And this, if I just scroll down this list, I mean, it'll load up forever. It just keeps going, right? It keeps going. I think Quant's down here somewhere in the deep dark depths. And again, they're just kind of facilitating this. I guess you could say it's almost like the ISO standard, right? They're just trying to collaborate people in the blockchain world to create these standardizations, right? And that's what's happening here. That's what's happening on the 5th of December, right now, 3 days away. So they have an event that's coming up that's organized by them as well as the European Commission And let me just read you this paragraph before we move on to who's speaking, which is big. In a world where diverse, ever-evolving standards shape the blockchain landscape, the European Commission and INATBA joined forces once again on the 4th edition of Joining Forces for the Blockchain Standardization. This annual gathering isn't just about preventing redundancy, it's a call for global unity. All right, so it's big. Again, call for global unity is what I want to point out here. They are creating standardizations. They are bringing people together in all corners of the globe, focusing on this blockchain industry, and they're creating a standardization for things, right? So nevertheless, we could be here and talk about this for a while. So the speakers here in this event are pretty big. Again, it's an annual event here, and so we have to look at who's speaking. We have Quant Network, right? Different events, of course, different sort of stages, but Quant Network speaking multiple times over here as well. We have Casper Labs. We have Joel over here, of course, is Marketing Director of Sales and Business over at Casper Labs. I actually bought some Casper recently. I bought a whole bunch of Casper, I'm not going to lie. We have over here, I'm not going to try to pronounce the man's name, but we have a gentleman talking and from the ISO TC 307 standard, which funnily enough, is the standard that was created by yours truly, Gilbert, right? The CEO and founder of Quant. He established the damn standard, and he's the conveyor, I think that's how you pronounce it, the conveyor of the standard. I believe still, maybe recently moved away from it. Either way, he founded this standard, which is based on interoperability, right? So we have these guys being a part of it as well. We have over here the IEEE as well involved in this. What is the IEEE? Well, it's the world's largest technical professional organization dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. So these guys are in here as well. We just got all the big players. Again, another guy from Quant over here moderating. We have LACchain, which again is... LACchain, by the way, is Quant's providing the infrastructure for this. It's essentially going to be the blockchain for all of Latin America, right? And LACnet, so again, Quant pretty much runs that infrastructure essentially. We also have over here another guy speaking from the TC 307 standard, that again, Gilbert Verderin. So again, a very, very bullish event, pardon me, for Quant and Casper Labs as well. We also have, I think, this gentleman over here who is a partner, I believe, or an advisor for Energy Web token. So we got some big stuff, right? This is, again, is the event to be at if you are someone, again, in the eyes of these people. So again, Casper Labs is quite a small project, right? We know Quant has been up against and partnered with the massive names in the past, right? Of course, the BIS and all that sort of stuff. It's obviously worked with the likes of Amazon before, different central banks. So that in of itself is massive. But of course, so this is, in my opinion, not a massive shock to see it here. But Casper Labs it is, I believe, right? And so that just goes to show, like, people are sleeping on Casper Labs are going to have to wake up sooner or later because they're doing so much stuff. They're not really caring. What I've noticed is, and I kind of did sort of, I guess not hate on Casper Labs, but I did doubt it at one point in time because the crypto ecosystem wasn't big, right? And I was thinking to myself, well, are devs wanting to build here? But they're not really focused on that right now. They're mainly focused, just like Quant, they're mainly focused in the Web 2 world. And that, of course, spawns, events like this, right? The fact that they're able to come here and speak is, again, there has to be some sort of communication. You don't just get that chance willy-nilly, right? Especially with the likes of the INATBA. I'm going to stop saying that. I absolutely hate repeating that, right? So, with that being said, there's some other big news. And the last major news for today, I have one more news after this, by the way, but this is sort of the biggest news for individual projects. We have a new foundation. Oh, well, I shouldn't really say that, right? I was to kind of jump in the gun here. So, Iota is looking to expand its reach in the UAE, right? So I want to talk more a little bit about this, starting back in September, actually. So back in September, they announced that they were looking to expand their reach, basically, and pretty much create a hub, or essentially their foundation in Abu Dhabi. Let me just read you this, right? So back in September, what they kind of said was, in the TLDR sense, was they're planning to establish a regulated foundation in Abu Dhabi to expand their global reach and presence and decentralized governance. The new entity aims to foster Iota's growth and support the crypto community. It aligns with UAE's vision for technology innovation, positioning Iota as the DLT leader in the region and beyond. So for those, why have I got this highlighted for? I don't know. I just must have felt like highlighting that. So that's pretty big, right? So, but that really means nothing, right? They pretty much say they want to move to the Abu Dhabi and have a headquarters over there for their foundation. Sweet. But this actually came to life recently, right? A few days ago, the first registered DLT foundation under ADGM in Abu Dhabi. I know we've got lots of buzzwords today, right? So what is the ADGM? Well, it's Abu Dhabi's global market, right? So again, TLDR, the new Iota ecosystem DLT foundation, is the first DLT foundation registered with Abu Dhabi global market in the United Arab Emirates. This landmark achievement positions Iota at the forefront of digital and real-world convergence in the financial sector in the MENA, Middle East and North Africa region and globally. So what does this really mean? Well, the Abu Dhabi global market develops and supports member institutions with regulatory frameworks, legal jurisdictions, and attractive business environment they need for sustainable business growth. Okay, holy shit, Khan, you've just like spat a bunch of stuff at me. What are you talking about? Well, first of all, let me fix the screen up. So essentially, they've just created their foundation in Abu Dhabi, right? They have a headquarters over there apparently, right? And that's kind of what's going to be fostering a lot of their growth for this region. Now, effectively, this does mean to some degree that Iota can be regulated, right? Or at least will be regulated, which is extremely big news. If it can be regulated over there, now, the UAE, by the way, is pretty well crypto, like they support crypto is what I'm trying to say here. Like they accept the innovation, kind of like Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong kind of went back on that actually, to be honest with you. But these guys are at the forefront of all this sort of stuff, and it's really, really good to see that Iota is getting their hand in. Now, I think XDC Network also has been, because this is the first foundation that was like granted this. I think XDC was like the first DLT that was granted some sort of placement in the ADGM, right? So either way, it's some big stuff, because if it can get regulated over there and it can have its feet firmly planted in the MENA, Middle East and North Africa region, that's pretty big, because, you know, who knows what will follow then. You know, other regions will maybe classify it and regulate it, which is obviously a very, very big thing. So I think that's why Iota actually pumped up recently, right? Let's have a look here. Because I'm pretty sure it pumped. Yeah, it did. Yeah, on the day, right? So when they launched this, 29th of November. Yeah. Yeah, it pumped. It pumped a lot, right? So yeah, I mean, that's obviously why it pumped, because obviously if Iota can, I mean, this is some big stuff, because like, you know, you go back to, you're thinking about like Algorand getting in India, for example, like you're trying to, as a company, establish yourself in different regions. Like I think XDC is everywhere, but XDC primarily, of course, over in Japan as well, over in Asia. So yeah, this is some pretty big stuff. And of course, if they can get their feet firmly planted in the ground, I believe it's only up from there. So that's the big news from Iota. Again, I am a couple of days late on this, but nevertheless, if you're wondering why Iota's pumped, it's because, well, people are like, holy shit, well, actually, they're making moves, and it's all Web 2 moves. So this will hold, you know, over time. It's not just like, so crypto pumps are interesting because crypto pumps, they come and they go based on superficial news. This is news that lasts forever. And of course, while the project might fall back down again, over time, they're establishing more connections that will lead to more growth. So on the last bit of news, before I start answering some of your questions today, this isn't really news. Well, it is news, but it's more so I wanted to have a discussion with you about this because, you know, when I saw this, actually, let me just get some water really quickly here because my mouth's starting to get a bit dry. But we have a layer 2 on Bitcoin looking to bring EVM compatibility, basically a smart contract layer to Bitcoin. Now, the project in question is, what even is that? Botanics? I don't know. But Botanics Labs launches the first EVM equivalent layer 2 testnet on Bitcoin. I don't know, guys. Like, we effectively saw what tries to happen when you overload Bitcoin, right? I haven't read the fine print on this. I don't know how they're exactly going to be doing this, but we've seen the Lightning Network, all those issues come up with that. We've seen what happens with ordinals, right? The NFTs that launch through Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin just shouldn't be able to support this sort of stuff. We've effectively transitioned it into a store of value, and that is it. I don't see why people are going to bother with this. Now, they don't have a token. I had a look. None of that sort of stuff. They're just offering the ability for smart contracts developers to come on and basically just build applications on top. Now, personally speaking, right, why the hell would you want to do this? Why? What's even the point? I get it. You're like, well, I want to use Bitcoin for its decentralization and have all this as nice and secure. But I'm sorry to say, Bitcoin is not decentralized. It's only as decentralized as its weakest link. And while there's a lot of nodes, the security of it, the consensus is very centralized. So I don't understand how people want to build on Bitcoin. And also, I only really see, in this case, Bitcoin being like this, whatever this is called, Betonics, being used for like specifically DeFi that allows people to interact with Bitcoin itself. And I just don't know how many applications can spawn from that. Like, how many ideas can you think of we're going to lock the Bitcoin on the main chain and then we're going to spawn you a Bitcoin that you can and yield. Like, I don't understand. Maybe I'm completely missing the ship right here. Maybe I'm completely missing it. But they kind of go into a little bit over here. I mean, yeah, again, they don't have a coin yet. So all you guys wanting to buy this, I mean, I don't have anything to direct you to. But yeah, I would just say, for me, I'm not going to even worry about it. It's going to come and it's going to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that all out the way, I'm still scratching my eyes, by the way. I'm like still waking up. I didn't post last night because I had other stuff going on. So let's get some questions in. Pardon me. What do you all think about this news? Who's bullish on what? And I mean, this is some big news, by the way. Like Algorand, Quant, Casper. Overall, I think crypto in general, Iota, I mean, some big stuff. What do you think about this Bitcoin thing? Let's hear your questions. Kyle, absolutely, my friend. Hey, good night. Good night, brother. Get some good sleep. All the Bitcoin maxis saying otherwise. Yes, 100%. The Bitcoin maxis are going to be like, this is needed. We need this. We need this. I don't know, man. I think, I just try to think practical. And I don't think that this Betonics is practical. Like, I think it sounds cool. Like adding an application layer to Bitcoin, that really sounds cool. And while you might think all these cool applications can come to life, like I don't really think there's much to go from. My personal opinion, of course. You guys know how I feel about Bitcoin anyway. Lord says, love your research. However, for the first time I disagree with you regarding Algorand. I cannot see any worthwhile future at all. There are much better plays out there. Yeah, look, obviously we disagree, and that's fine. We disagree. I think the argument I would make, and again, I'm not trying to convince anyone to buy anything. That's never what I try to do here. I just try to give you my 2 cents on the topic. I think Algorand is different because if you just see who it's partnering with, you've got to understand about business. Business just doesn't come with big corporations, consortiums, networks. I mean, NASCOM is a consortium. These things don't just happen because, hey, we want to partner with you. These things take time. These things take a lot of negotiation, and you have to have like a very creditable technology or whatever it might be to present an offer. I think Algorand is partnering with these because it fundamentally offers those things, right? And so I just don't think that will just happen. I just don't think that would just happen because, you know what I mean? Like, because, hey, let's just partner with Algorand. So, but I get it. And my biggest thing about Algorand is people don't like it Maybe not because of what you're saying, but again, because it's supporting non-crypto things. But, you know, everyone's got an opinion on Algorand, I think. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Does anyone know any crypto cards that can be used like debit cards in New Zealand and Australia? Danny asks. I believe you can use your Tangent card, right? Your Tangent wallet card. You can just tap that, I believe. I actually have that with me. I should probably run over there and grab it. Do you see XLM hitting $2 in the bull run? Absolutely, Corey. Absolutely. I believe so. Right now it's like, what, 11 cents, 13 cents. So that's not much. I think a 20x is definitely, like, let's just roughly say 20x is definitely possible. Some people are worried about quant not moving as much as other cryptos. Do you think they are wrong? Yes. Because you see, when you look at a cryptocurrency, let me pull up some charts here. It's easy. Okay. We have the unique problem in crypto that we all know that this industry is a way to make quick money. And when you see other cryptocurrencies making quick money, it's very easy to feel like I'm missing out. But in reality, it's not that project's time to pump. And this can be a very dangerous cycle because, and I don't get me wrong, I still feel for this all the time. You know, I still have that feeling of like, oh, you know, should I swap? Like, should I do more analysis? What have I got wrong? But in reality, it's just not the project's time yet. Like, again, all projects follow a narrative pumps, and we can't really cut a project out until it's 2025. So quant not pumping right now, in my opinion, is fine. Like, it's just more of an accumulation phase for me. Because if you kind of like follow the idea of, oh, well, it's not pumping, I'm going to go buy, let's just say Solana, because Solana just keeps doing 10% week after week after, like, it just keeps going up. You buy Solana, maybe you make 30%, but you're like, well, I need to get my 5x, so I'm just going to hold for a 5x. Well, you might hold this for the next 3 years, but if you just decided to keep your quant at an average buy-in price of right now at $100, you know, you might get the 5x or barely the 5x on Solana, but quant goes up 30x, and you're like, why didn't I just stick with quant? And it's because you feel like you're missing out because crypto's supposed to be this bang, 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 money, money, money. But we're still 2 years out from the cycle top. It's 2 years. 2 years. Guys, anything can happen in 2 years, you know? I might be dead in 2 years for all I friggin' know. So, yeah, a lot's going to change. I know definitely mentally I'm going to be in a different place in 2 years. A lot more wires, I tell you what. So, I mean, I look back at even just 12 months and I'm like, damn, I would have hated to have a conversation with me 12 months ago. So, you know, that's only 12 months. So, yeah, you give it time. Let it cook. Let it cook. It's a nice... Right now, we've just finished... I'm not a cook, so I'm going to probably butcher this, but we've just finished kneading out the cookies, nice shape, in the oven. You know what I'm saying? That's the best I got. Algorand is being super slept on. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a dark horse. That's the way I see it. Algorand is my dark horse. It's got a lot of things inhibiting it right now that are fundamentally things you don't want to have inhibited in a speculation market, which is this narrative of the SEC is going after it. That's like a death wish for a cryptocurrency because, again, we want people to feel, the degens, to feel like they have to buy the project. And that will be an immediate sticking point for degens because that's a speculation mindset we have to have. We can look at the metrics. We can look at we can get real deep into projects. Look at the technology. Oh, well, this technology is slightly inferior to this technology. Therefore, but that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, it has to be memeability. It has to be memeability. Or people say pumpamentals. Pumpamentals is the right way to probably go about that. I don't think we need to fear CBDC, says Brian. Actually, a part of the news I was supposed to bring you guys 2 days ago that I said I was going to bring you today, if there wasn't big news, which of course there is big news, was CBDC development. They're looking at ways in which CBDCs can remain private between only yourself and the issuing bank. So, I bank with, let's just say, ANZ Bank. It's a big bank over here in Australia and New Zealand. I have a bank account with them, I transact, and the CBDC is only being able to be seen between us. The government, which holds the ledger, the government with everything passes through, cannot see the transaction, neither can the merchant, the person you're spending the money at the store. So this isn't, that's cool, that sounds good, but I still don't like CBDCs, man. I just don't like CBDCs. Because it's not that that's a problem. It's not that privacy is an issue. Yes, it's an issue, but what's more of an issue is censorship. It's censorship, because if you're just storing the ledger, that's fine. Questionable because you can obviously change the ledger. Oh, you actually don't have $1,000 in your bank account. You have nada. But what's a really big issue is if they are able to come in and put a block on your account or card or at certain places, because we have this functionality already. You go into your bank, and I know I used to work in a bank, obviously, and so when people would go overseas, what do? You have to go to your bank and say, hey, I'm going overseas. I'm going to be using my card at these locations. Please don't block it, because as soon as, typically speaking, a good bank at least, when they see a transaction come through, if you're an Australian, come through from Mumbai, India, they're going to block that straight away. What the hell, he was in Australia, now he's in Mumbai. That doesn't make sense. Maybe someone's got his details. So, yeah, that's the whole idea behind that. And so, obviously, if the bank can do that, imagine what the government could do if they had a CBDC, right? My price prediction on Casper, Kieran says... Kieran, my price prediction would probably, I think it came to about $2 to $3. Now, that's like kind of freaking you out right now, probably, because you're like, $2 to $3, but Kieran, Casper's almost at $2 to $3. That's like a what? Well, actually, $2 to $3 is still quite a lot. 20 to 30x more from here, basically. But you have to understand, look at what it's done in the bear market. All right, look at what it's done over here. It's absolutely killed it. Yes, that's great. But I just worry, like, how much of these core supporters are going to continue to have money? Yeah, we're going into a bull run. Yeah, people are going to take profits, of course. But I know a lot of the Casper community are like only Casper bulls. It's a very tribal mindset. And that's actually something to think about, is like the liquidity is slowly diminishing. I mean, you look at this. I mean, 3 billion market cap, 52 million trading volume. It's only so low because there's no actual use for the network right now. It's just a project. I'm probably going to get shit if I keep talking about Casper here, so I'm going to stop. But yeah, I think $2 to $3 sounds about right. Could go more. Casper has a very strong community, so you never know. Do I ever see Quant moving off ETH to something like XDC? No, I actually don't, Angus. But good question. Good question. I mean, look, that could definitely happen, but I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will happen. Yeah, massive news for Iota. That it is big news because, again, like, if they can be regulated in that region of the world, right? Africa and wherever else it was like, not Europe. It was I probably should pull it up. But either way, no matter where they get regulated, it's a really good step. No matter what. Let's have a look at where it is. Middle East and North Africa. So no matter where you get regulated, I think it's a step in the right direction, a big step in the right direction, because it tells other regulators, hey, this project actually might be worth having a look into and singling out. Kind of like the SEC did with Polkadot, right? Polkadot is classified as not a security, I think, in the US. Because we always focus on the US, but in reality, we need a global framework and global regulations. That's the really big unlock here. Yeah, Jeremy says private CBDCs. I think it's a front as well, Jeremy. I think it's just like, oh, we can't see it, just you and your bank. It's like they're just trying to make it sound better. Bro, have you looked at the chart? It's a pump and dump. Oh, what's this on? Thoughts on FX1? Ooh, if my boy Armzilla says something's a pump and dump, it probably is. I'm not saying something's. I'm not saying Armzilla's got financial advice happening here, but I trust him. So unavailable with the $2 donation. Thank you, my man. What's Casper's utility again? No VCs, fair launch. Oh, touchy topic, touchy. Oh, we got some donations coming through. Okay, one sec, guys. I'll get to unavailable. And so okay. Man, I could be here for a while. I'm gonna piss people off if I touch on this for too long. But as far as I am aware, Casper with a K, by the way, has no current utility. People can use it for payments, but it needs to be adopted for payments first. First of all, that's gonna have, and people say like I saw someone in my comment. I made a video recently on the dark side of Casper, which by the way I do on other projects as well. It's just trying to keep everything nice and transparent with people. And I heard someone say in the comments, like they were like, "Oh, Kyron, Casper doesn't need smart contracts. It doesn't need smart contracts to be a viable network. It just has to be fast." Like, my brain lags when I think about that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? A network doesn't have to have smart contracts. Yes, as a payment network, it doesn't need smart contracts. That's fine. But again, just like we've seen with, Iota, Algorand, the other Casper with a C, they have to be adopted. They have to be working on collaborating with these big people. And I just don't think that's going to happen because Casper the beauty of it is an open, fair, nice, transparent network. But you have no one really at the core going out, as far as I'm aware, and establishing these connections, right? Going to meetings, going and like, because it's Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. You have the Bitcoin core developers that have keys to be able to make changes, and that's why they've butchered the network over the years. But you have that for Casper as well. But I don't see those guys going to meetings with, NASCOM. So for it to be developed as payment, I think crypto-based projects have to adopt it as payment. That's where it's got to start. We look at these projects, developing in different countries and regions. I think Casper's region to start is crypto, and from there it can move on to other things, Web 2 things, right? Now, again, the conversation about being a smart contract, I think it needs to be smart contract compatible. That's why they're looking to upgrade it to smart contract compatibility. I think it will get some adoption from developers, and they'll come on here, just like people are trying to do with Bitcoin right now. And make it smart contract compatible. I think there is going to be a need. People are going to want to do that, build on it because it's fully decentralized. That's great. But I don't think it's going to have adoption. There's a whole bunch of reasons why centralization will occur, environmental concerns, so on and so forth. But no VCs and fair launch is a big bonus. But that's why I think Casper will do well in this bull run. I think Casper will do well in 2025 rather, because it's catering towards a speculation market. That's why it's pumped up so damn much in a bear market, because degens love it. And that's what we have to be concerned about. But as for past 2025, when crypto becomes more regulated and things happen, I don't really see it. It will it can, but it'll have to grow a lot since. So, hopefully that helps. Unavailable. I try to be very careful in the way I describe this with Casper, because even though I made a video on it and I thought I presented things very well, but I still have people just, oh no, it's just good. Leave it at that. And so there's no matter what I say, basically people are not going to be happy with me. Angus says, thoughts on Sologenic? We'll have a look here for you. Oh, I think Mark actually. Or someone, this is a project building on Solana, right? Maybe not. Okay, maybe I was completely wrong there. Let's have a look at Sologenic. Thank you for the $5, Angus. One-stop DEX for seamless digital asset management and trading. Oh, okay, yeah, righto. So it's built on XRP's ledger. So first of all, this information, by the way, guys, oh, you can't see. So first of all, you can't rely on any of this information, by the way. Let me just tell you that right now. Like, I'm sure this is probably correct, that they probably are legit, but just rule of thumb. Okay, so for me, it's just a newer DEX, right? So it's offering some of the things a new type of DEX would offer: IDO Launchpad, NFT Marketplace, so on and so forth, more advanced charts possibly. So order book, like, so bridge. Okay, they have a card. That's cool. Yeah, okay. So they're just like a new DEX for things. So the way I would go about this, again, this would immediately not interest me, by the way. Like, and the reason why is because I'm not looking for these types of projects. This doesn't interest me. While I like DeFi and DEXs and so on and so forth, it's just not my interest, right? I don't know how else I can really put that. So I'm trying to like, think about this objectively here for a second. I would have to say, look at its competitors. Are there other DEXs on XRP? And if so, what does this have that they don't? And also look, because it's a DEX, what fundamentally makes a DEX, and you know, I made a video the other day, guys, talking about how you're supposed to look at the infrastructure of a project first, because that will dictate the outcome or the users of the infrastructure. And in this case, it's a DEX, so it's got to have high liquidity, right? The pools have to be quite deep. So I would say, bro, if you're going to invest in this, look at how liquid the pools are. Look at the slippage. Look at well, I like the fact that they have a card for starters. They have IDO launcher. So with the IDO launcher, what are they launching on there? Like it, and of course these will pop up during the bull run. But like, is it launching strictly things from? Where are we here? Is it launching strictly XRP tokens? Well, there's a fair few. Holy shit! Are these just? Oh man, these are actual projects. Oh, interesting. What's that? It's 20. Is that like a quality rating? Trust score. It is. Wow, man, this is some pretty interesting things here. I quite like this. Bro. Angus, you might have something cooking here, my man. And I know that's such a subtle, like, small little, probably insignificant thing, but the fact that they have it, I quite like. So how many tokens do you have to get to participate? Cool. Yeah. I mean, just look at its competitors, really, man. And if you believe in XRP and its ecosystem, then why the hell not? You know, why the hell not? Because the thing about IDO, I'm actually making a video soon on launchpads. The thing about launchpads is they can be very, very profitable. Like, let me just show you one that, like, I was going to get into the last bull run. That you guys might know, another YouTuber called Suppo Man. It's very high controversy surrounding him, but this project, I think the highest here was like $200, maybe even $500,000, and you can get into it now for quite cheap because the token's obviously fallen in price. And I tell you right now, like, they were launching 100x coins in a bull run like every other day. Yeah, you can't really invest a lot. Like, I think like even the top tier was like $100. But $100 times $100, like, that's a lot of money, right? It's $10,000. You get your initial investment back pretty quickly, and they have the random 1000x coin. Like, you're pretty much 10xing quite easy. So yeah, these can be very profitable. So good pick up on that, man. I might have to have a look at this. Maybe even I might like look at adding it to my. I'm gonna add it over here to my launchpad video. To be honest with you, I'll have a deeper look into it, man. Good stuff. Lil Riz, man, I love your name, bro. Thank you for the €2. What's your take on Tau and AVAX? Great stream. I mean, I like both projects, of course. I haven't really researched AVAX too much recently, to be honest with you, man. I said this in I think the last stream I did. I did a dive into the technicals for another YouTuber once, so I understand how like the subnets work and all that, and I understand its scalability. And look, the thing is, you know, I don't like AVAX because it's kind of reminds me of BSC. Funnily enough, we're on BSC pad, but Binance Smart Chain is just a cesspit in my opinion, an absolute cesspit. And so when I look at AVAX, like some of the projects on there, some of them, well, I should say majority of them, in my opinion. Are just like small little projects. None of them are like really standout-ish, at least the ones that are native to AVAX. Let me jump on DeFi Llama here because maybe I'm absolutely talking nonsense. But again, this is like why it's important to like constantly recheck these things because I'm probably using outdated analysis. Hello? DeFi Llama is frozen on me. No, DeFi Llama is not working. Weird. Okay, anyway. So yeah, just check the native projects. If there's like, you know, 5 to 10 native, again, native being only known to AVAX, or at least they initially launched on AVAX, and they can branch out, fair enough. If they're like well-known projects, cool, great, that's awesome. But as far as I'm aware, like AVAX has a lot of like NFT projects, like small gaming projects, but nothing really standout-ish. Again, this is old information I'm probably thinking of here, but yeah. Betensa Tau, love the project, obviously. Oh shit, bro, has this pumped up? Yeah, what the hell? What the hell? Bro, what? This went from a $50 token to $300. What? That's incredible. Yeah, I didn't, what? Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. I mustn't have, I just haven't looked at the chart. Yeah, I think Tau's a great project, man. I'm not invested in it personally, but it's one that I'm going to have like 2 to 3 spots open up throughout the bull run to look at investing, but I'll tell you what, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying this. No way. No matter how much like I love the technology behind it, the idea, there's no way I'm buying it and inflated, what's that, like 4x? No, 6x? Nope. Other projects are out there. So yeah, my position is if you're not in, like me, not worth it. I mean, it could, you know, the market cap could go to like 10, 11, 12 billion. Let's say there's no more tokens that come out in supply. But yeah, I just don't see. And this is actually maybe a good point to bring up quickly here before I touch on your next topic there, unavailable, is that, you know, people might look at this and go, well, there's 25% in circulation. Yeah, 75% still remains, but we only have a total max supply of 21 million. That's quite good. That's like Bitcoin, right? So there's going to be a big supply shock. This is once my mentality as well, so don't feel bad for thinking this. And you'd think to yourself, well, okay, so if people find out about it, it's going to go up even more, right? Because again, it's like you buy it $300, but because there's less supply, you think that it would go exponential returns, right? Which is obviously true. That's how it works. That's like, for example, it's like if I minted 10 pens, right? These limited pens, right? And I give one of you 10 or 9 of you 9 pens, and there was 1 pen remaining to sell. That 9th pen would be worth so much more money than the other 9 pens, right? Because of this economic effect. But that's a misconception because that only really applies to stock in a way, because you have to buy one whole token for that to happen. You have to buy one token. And it doesn't quite work like that in crypto because you can buy fractions of a token, right? You can buy fractions of a token. So if 100,000 people wanted to buy a Betensa and they came in, they could buy $100 worth of Betensa, not one Betensa, if that makes sense. So there's no real supply shock because of that. So Unavailable says, Algorand sold a trilemma 3 years ago. Just so you know, in addition, how would they list without liquidity? on tier 1 exchanges. I'm guessing you might be talking about Casper, right? So yeah, Algorand solved the trilemma 3 years ago. Yeah, a lot of projects have claimed they solved the trilemma. I think Algorand technically has solved the trilemma. There's always some sort of trade-off. I think, I don't want to use outdated information, but I thought that Algorand was somewhat centralized in terms of, you know, nodes. But of course, as time progresses, it will develop, right? You can't just throw your network out there and say anyone can join. It takes a little bit of time. I could be completely wrong there, I don't know. But I agree with you. Algorand has solved the trilemma. Yeah, a lot of projects have claimed that. So yeah, I think you're talking about, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, unavailable, but when you say without liquidity on tier 1 exchanges, how would they do that? So Casper with a K launched on, let me actually pull up what it is. I forget what exchange it was, but if I see it, I'll be able to tell you. I'm pretty sure it was Gate.io or BitGet. One of those two. Maybe, no, MEXC, I believe. They launched on like MEXC, and, well, which has the most amount of volume here. They had to get community funding for that. I think the community put in $30,000 worth of cash for liquidity. So that's how they got on that exchange. As for these other ones, I'm not too sure if that happened as well, or whether those exchanges just bought up a whole bunch of the supply themselves, but they have no foundation. They have no pre-mined tokens to then pull from to give to exchanges. So they have to do things as you would expect for a decentralized project. I mean, this shouldn't be a shock to anyone, really. That's not a negative thing at all. It's just the fact that a tier 1 exchange might have to buy the supply for that to happen. Dennis says, any thoughts on scale? Okay. Alrighty. We heard it here first. The world's fastest blockchain. I'm really getting sick of hearing that. 125 nodes. That's actually a lot of transactions, I won't lie to you. I think compared to HBAR, but of course that's, for a network I haven't heard of, that's pretty impressive. 0 gas fees forever. That's actually concerning. I don't like that. So I guess they probably say that the world's fastest network because they can just grow with demand. That's good. That's modular. That's a big tick. Oh, each node runs 8 chains. Maybe that's why they have, I don't know, man. See, there's so much that comes into my mind already. My mind just floods. It's like, well, so what's the bandwidth requirements for something that has to run 8 chains at once? Like what? Like also storage. How does that work? Like have they modularized? Have they sharded essentially storage essentially, right? State. Like how does that work? On-chain file storage. So there's like a lot of issues that come up because of that. So, I mean, okay, so let me tell you right now, based on pure idea of the project, yes, it like literally ticks all my boxes. I'll tell you that right now. But, well, I'll have to look into it. Because it ticks my boxes. Like, again, like, yeah, that I always hate hearing that. But, you know, projects have claimed that many times before, so not going to knock it for that. I would have to look into how it actually works, like what they've done to scale the network, how they have instant finality, how that works, what they've done. And if I read it, like you get a pretty good idea of whether the project's bullshitting you or not, because just the way you like read the docs, if the docs just talk bullshit and just gibberish, like they don't actually go into the exact reasons of how they've solved that problem, then yeah, like a perfect example is like how multiverse how Multiverse X like describes it in their like white paper. If you want to look at how like you see, look, I mean, look, it doesn't have much more transactions than that network. If you want to look at how to actually solve it and how developers have to overcome those issues, look at this as a benchmark and then go back and read the way that Scale does it, and you'll be able to see for sure. I mean, it could be a great network. I mean, it sounds great. Sounds great. And again, we're like, okay, so I'm again like going against what I just said before. I could do that. I could look into that sort of thing, and think to myself, okay, well, they're bullshitting us. It's just whatever. It's just a lot of nonsense, vaporware, right? It's whatever. But if this still is like a wow factor for a degen, then it's still a good buy. It's still a good buy, but I wouldn't buy it in that case because, and only because my idea is looking for post 2025. I'm not going to buy a project that is just built on an idea. I want actually something that's tangible and working. So, but yeah. Look at Multiverse X, because that's who it's competing with, like pretty well directly. Maybe even near Protocol, but Multiverse X is would be very similar to Scale in that case, and just see what they're doing to beat that. Because instant finality on a modular blockchain, I don't even know how that would work. That's very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. So that's what I would look at, brother. But again, if you're looking for 2025 only, look at the meme. Look at the meme. So thank you for the 250 euros. Sad says, did you hear about APD Dusk and what do you think of it? No, I haven't actually heard of it, my man. Thank you for the 7 AED. Oh. I've pasted in the wrong thing there. Ugh. Damn, we've been going for an hour here, people. That's crazy. It's not coming up, man. It's not coming up. Not coming up, brother. I'm sure that's not it. Yeah, sorry, man. I would look it up, but I can't. I can't have a look at... sorry, Sad. I can't have a look at it, my man. With that said, everyone, we've been here for an hour, and I have a live stream happening tonight as well. So the live stream tonight will be based on the news that occurs over the last 24 hours. So we will talk again then if you are awake, and if you are a psycho... Well, I mean... Everyone over here in Australia will likely be awake. But for those of you who it's likely morning or evening right now, then yeah, if you can make it, you can make it. If not, that's fine. Don't stress yourself out. So everyone, that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Hopefully you liked the news. And if you've missed it, scroll back and listen again. Some big stuff happened recently. With that said, everyone, thank you all. I look forward to seeing you all tonight.